Basically, any object thrown at a target with the aim of hitting it is a missile. A stone thrown at a bird is a missile. The bird, by using its power of reasoning, may evade the stone by moving either to the left, right, top, or bottom with respect to the flight path of the stone. The missile in this case has been ineffective in its objective of hitting the bird. Now, if the stone too is imparted with some intelligence and quick response to move with respect to the bird, to overcome aiming errors and the bird's evasive actions, and hit it accurately, the stone now become a guided missile. Looking back into the history of rockets and guided missiles, we find that rockets were used in China and India around 1000 AD for fireworks as well as for war purposes. During the 18th century, unguided rockets propelled missiles were used by Hyder Ali and his son Tipu Sultan against the British. There is a reference that two rockets belonging to Tipu's forces were captured during the Fourth Mysore War in the siege of Seringapatanam in 1799 by companies of the Bengal and Bombay Artillery of the East India Company. The current phase in the history of missiles began during the World War II with the use of V-1 and V-2 missiles by Germany. Since then, there has been a tremendous and rapid global advancement in this field. It spawned the growth and pushed the frontiers of many new technologies in the areas of material science, aeronautics, communications, radars, and computers. Huge amount of prime resources have been channelized into this field, resulting in the development of sophisticated missiles. Type of guided missiles. Presently, there are many types of guided missiles. They can be broadly classified on the basis of their features, such as type of target, range, mode of launching, system adapted for control, propulsion, aerodynamics. They are also termed in a broad sense as strategic or tactical, defensive or offensive. On the basis of target, they could be called anti-tank, anti-armor, anti-personnel, anti-aircraft, anti-helicopter, anti-ship, anti-submarine, anti-satellite, anti-missile. Another classification of missile which is very popular is based on the method of launching. Surface-to-surface missiles, surface-to-air missiles, air-to-air missiles, air-to-surface missiles. On the basis of range, missiles can be broadly classified as short-range missiles, medium-range ballistic missiles, intermediate-range ballistic missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles. Missiles which travel a distance of about 50 to 100 kilometers are designated as short-range missiles. Those with a range of 100 to 1500 kilometers are called medium-range missiles. And missiles having a range up to 5000 kilometers are said to be intermediate range missiles. Intercontinental ballistic missiles belong to the class of long range missiles, which can travel a distance of 12,000 kilometers. On the basis of launch platform, missile can be termed as shoulder fired, tripod launched, land mobile, aircraft, helicopter borne, ship, submarine launched, silo based launched, space based launched. Based on guidance, missiles are broadly classified as command guidance, homing guidance, beam rider guidance, inertial navigation guidance. Depending on the aerodynamic control adopted, a missile is called wing controlled, tail controlled, canard controlled. On the basis of propulsion system, solid propulsion, liquid propulsion, hybrid propulsion. One more classification is based on the type of trajectory, and a missile is called ballistic missile or a cruise missile. By definition, a ballistic missile is the one which covers a major part of its range outside the atmosphere, where the only external force acting on the missile is the gravitational force of Earth, while the cruise missile is the one which travels its entire range in the atmosphere at a nearly constant height and speed. However, a missile could have a combination of the two also, where a missile could cover part of the flight in ballistic mode and later a terminal portion in cruise mode. You launch a ballistic missile, it goes in the air, it forms a parabola, then it falls on the target, wherein the gravity also come into play. Cruise missile also form a comparatively smaller parabola. After that, it goes straight and can perform a variety of maneuvers depending on the program that is set. A ballistic missile can go up to an altitude of 1500 to 2000 kilometers, which is in the lower Earth orbit. This altitude depends on how far is your target. Based on that, a certain altitude will be needed. On the other hand, a cruise missile can go up to an altitude of a few hundred kilometers or even less. It again has to come down at a low altitude to cruise in the air before hitting the target. Now, ballistic missiles don't have an option of cruising. The International Space Station is located at an altitude of around 400. Ballistic missile goes even higher than the ISS, but cruise missile's altitude is lower than the ISS. Now suppose there is a ground-based radar placed over here by the enemy. A radar has a certain field of view and there is a maximum range at which target can be detected using a radar. So imagine here is an enemy radar and this is the radar's field of view. That means a ballistic missile will be detected much earlier compared to cruise missile. So this is the advantage of cruising at a lower altitude. The lower the altitude, the harder it will be for a radar to detect. Now if you look at the speed of a ballistic missile, the maximum velocity a ballistic missile can achieve is around 24,000 km per hour. I'm giving a rough estimate. An ICBM can strike a target within a 10,000 kilometers range in about 30 to 35 minutes. A cruise missile can fly more than the speed of sound, that is Mach 2, Mach 3. The most well-known supersonic missile is the Indian BrahMos missile. It is currently the fastest operational supersonic missile capable of flying at a speed of 3,700 km per hour.